Hello, this is Hydrologic here for a review video. Yeah, you don't really see these too often. And another thing you haven't been seeing too often is this irrigation stuff. So, why don't we just get started? So, this review will be mainly focusing on this Melnor 53015 single outlet hose faucet timer. The Advanced Aqua Timer series, or Advanced Enhanced Aqua Timer series. I thought it was Hydro something. Well, this 15339 wired soil moisture sensor. And this, I honestly don't know, oscillating sprinkler. So, oh, and also these orbit hose menders, which I will get to. Now, to start off with the timer, so far, oh well, we got it today. So far it's been pretty nice. The buttons feel, well, interesting. They're not clicky, but they're very mushy instead. Actually, it kind of feels nice. As you can see, you have some features that you don't normally find on other hose end timers, like a battery meter. You can run manual cycles while the timer is turned off, and you can select what days of the week to use it on, instead of just, you know, a cycle of every, say, 3 days. And the biggest selling point of this timer, the moisture sensor. So, I ran out of words. But about the moisture sensor, we've been a little bit confused because the timer's manual doesn't explain anything about the soil moisture sensor, and the moisture sensor doesn't even come with a manual. Sometimes that little sensor icon will flash, sometimes it's solid, and we don't know what it means, and we want to know if it can indicate whether it's turned the timer off or not. And we also want to know, is it compatible with the wireless moisture sensor? Because it doesn't have the slide-on bracket thing you would normally find for the receiver. And why would we want the wireless one? Well, the cable on the soil moisture sensor is an abysmal 16 feet. Well, it's not abysmal, but it's not good enough. It may seem like a pretty long distance, but in reality, you have to place the timer either right next to or in the area you're gonna water. Like we had to here. Our hose bib is 20 feet away, and maybe 25. We weren't able to put the timer there because the wire onto the sensor wouldn't reach. So what we had to do is we had to remove the SVC, as you can see over there. Move the hose, hang it over the spa, put a rock on it, and then put the timer hanging down on the hose, just so this wire can reach the lawn. And I'm actually quite afraid that the gardener, who doesn't have a very good track record, will cut the wire or break it somehow. But that's not an issue for this video. Anyways, overall, oh wait, before I move on, another problem I need to address. It may not seem like it at first, but this gray part here is not plastic, it's actually rubber. It's not very thick, but it is rubber, and that will probably crack or dry out and harden in the future, so I actually do wish that was plastic, but it's still very nice. Onto the oscillator. So, this oscillator is more like a regular pop-up rotor than an oscillator because it has 2 adjustable trip points. And one thing I really like about it is those 2 yellow clips in the center, those adjust the spray width. Now people have complained online that these break off, but if you're careful with them, they shouldn't break off. Careful, yeah. Well, Other than that, it's a pretty nice oscillating sprinkler.
Except I like the older green, it's more square design more. Just look better. Now, onto these orbit hose menders. These are a little weird. So, they probably look a little familiar with these two screw-on clamps instead of hose clamps, and the brass, interchangeable brass piece that's either female connector, double-ended barb connector, or a male connector. And the thing with these, they are okay, but the metal they used on this is too soft, so I think this screw right here is stripped. So yeah, you gotta be very careful with that. Another thing, they don't come with instructions either. The packaging is even minimalist, so I don't know where exactly to place them, so this ended up happening. I mean, it works, but it just doesn't seem ideal. Also, another problem, the little cap that would normally cover this plug if you didn't have a sensor, it's not attached to the timer, so if you lose that, you will never be able to use the timer without the sensor ever again, because, well, it won't be weatherproofed. And if you do, kiss goodbye to your timer. Anyways, that's pretty much a review of the Melnor Aqua Century, this new Melnor timer. Oh, fun fact, this is being filmed before Melnor even released videos of these timers, so yay.
If they ever will.
Yeah. And
they're one of those kind of companies.
That Melnor oscillator and these orbit thingy-majiggers. Hose menders. So, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them, either via YouTube PM or in the comments section below. Well, at least in YouTube's current version. And before we say goodbye, we'll just show you these items in operation. Oh, by the way, after a while of us owning these, we'll probably make a follow-up review to tell you how they've held up. As you can see, the oscillator's oscillating, the moisture sensor is sensing, and the timer is timing. And the hose menders are, well, actually, I'll get to that in another video. And as I was trying to say earlier, we'll probably make a follow-up review to tell you how these have held up in the summer, watering the lawn that is dying because of how badly the irrigation system here was installed. So we're having to supplement this until we can replace these craptastic and even poorly adjusted 1800s.
And Toro 570Z series.
Are you sure they're Z's?
Yep, they're Z's.
Oh yeah, zero flush, which is the thing that most often kills them. Anyways, that is also for another video. So is that scarecrow, if you can see it standing at the end of the pool. If you want to see it, just ask.
Well, the furthest end of the oscillating sprinkler is actually set to its very furthest reach, and you'd expect it to go farther.
It is? Are you sure?
Yeah, it is. And the streams go really high, so why couldn't they just do... Ow. Why couldn't they just make it go further? I mean, it doesn't really go that far, honestly. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I'm afraid the gardener will cut this cable. I don't know if I said that earlier, but yeah, they're a bad gardener, so they may not know. Well, I probably shouldn't be saying anything about him. At least the plants haven't died. Well, aside from this grass. Anyways, if you have any questions or video requests, please ask them in the comments. There'll probably be a follow-up review later after we've gotten a chance to see these products working for an extended period of time. And goodbye.